Whoa, 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 stop right there. Before we can get to all the glamour, we have to take a step back and see where the Sherman started, and that's not parading around on the streets of Europe. We have to go back to the Battle of France in 1940. The Germans had shown their might and the power of their armor. America knew that the M2 light tank would not be enough. This started to push for a superior tank. This would eventually lead to the M4. The first prototype of the M4 was done in 1941 and went into production in October of 1941. The M4 went after speed and mobility. This obviously had some cost, which was the armor and the size of the cannon. The M4 had a top speed of 29 miles per hour and had a low velocity 75mm gun. The maximum thickness of the tank was 75 millimeters, but in some spots was only 12 millimeters thick. As you can see, not the most heavily armored tank of its day. It was manned by 5 crew members, and the M4 ran on a 425 horsepower engine powered by gasoline, but this did vary on the variant. Now it was time for the Sherman to see combat, and it would get its chance at the Second Battle of El Alamein, where it performed well at the time, but it was facing comparable tanks like the German Panzer IV. The Americans would go on to produce 50,000 Shermans in multiple variants. This was great on a production standpoint, but would hurt when it came to innovation. This was shown by the Normandy invasion. By this time, the Germans were using Panthers and Tigers. The Tiger I came equipped with an 8.8 centimeter gun, plenty to punch right through the M4 Sherman, also having 105 millimeters of frontal armor. This presented a problem for the Sherman tank crews. Americans knew we would have to use superior tactics and the Russian tried and true method of just having more tanks than the enemy. The M4 Sherman would go on to receive multiple variants, some receiving a 105mm to 76.2mm or the 17-pounder gun, which was used on the Firefly. The M4 would also see the Pacific theater, where it was very limited because of the nature of the combat in the Pacific. But when it was used, it performed excellent against Japanese armor. The M4 might not have been the strongest, fastest, or most survivable tank in World War II, but it had a purpose, and with the right command, it was a deadly tool that would go on to help the Allies to victory in World War II.